So in this video, I just want to introduce you to the text tool in Photoshop. This tool is actually fairly complicated. There's a lot of ins and outs and options that I definitely don't have time to show you right now. But later on in the course, I will do a little more in-depth one, especially when we get to the point where we are incorporating text and planning to incorporate text into our portfolio, which is coming up in a couple of units. But for right now, I just want to show you the basics, show you how to begin to add text in. It's a wonderful, flexible tool. It can be a little squirrely, but it's got a lot more flexibility, and in a way, I think is simpler to use than the book module text. To get started, you're just going to go to the text tool, and it comes up as a little box. When you go here, it is going to actually put that text layer onto your image. It's going to put some automatic text in it to start with. Now you want to decide, at this point it's over the color fill, it's under the image, that's fine. So once I go to text, if I want to move it, I need to move away from it, go to the V. I'm just going to leave this random text in here for now in order to show you this. Notice that if I move it over, it's going to go behind. And we have those same nice guidelines. So this is saying, oh, you're right at it, you're under it, you're centered. It's giving you those wonderful guidelines, which I love. On this one, I probably want it to the right, and it's not a problem. But if you happen to want your text to sit over an image, I don't do that for the inside of a portfolio, but you absolutely might do it for a title page or for the cover. So it's good for you to know how to do this. Just move it here, and then once it's there, then you could actually have the choice of putting it over the image. Okay, a couple more things about text, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up. So if you want to change this text, just select it, and we'll just call this, this is an elegant turn. And I'm just going to put in the text first and then do some modifying. And I'm just putting in the name and the place just as a possible might or might not be what you want to put here. So I'm just going to call it that, and we'll take the rest of this out. And you notice it's way too big for this text. How much more is in here? Oh, way too much more. Okay, let me actually just do one other thing so I can get rid of this. So you notice I just made this text page really big. Now I have to be on text to do this. I have to actually be on the text tool. That's one of the tricks. If I move away from the text tool, for instance, to the move tool, I can't actually change anything about it. But if I click onto it, it'll automatically go back to the text tool. It can be a little squirrely sometimes. But to move it, I want to do it this way, and then I can move it around. To change the size of the box or to change the text, I need to do it this way. Now I'm going to go back, squeeze this in, and let's see, we'll squeeze it in here and here so that I know that all the text is going to fit within that. Totally movable. We can change it around. We can move it up and down. Don't like the size of the text, so once you do this, all of your choices for text are up here. We can change the font, and of course, unlike in, what was that program, Lightroom, you can actually see your, you can see this. Not only that, it's going to give you a nice little preview, which I think is great. I don't want anything too fancy, but I want it not quite so simple. I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. We'll talk more about these choices later. And then I'll leave it on regular, that's fine. Oops, nope, I don't want it on italic. I did a Command C. And we definitely want it much smaller. Let's try 14. Not quite big enough. Actually, I don't mind that. Let's go one more. Nope, too big. I like, for a title page, and of course we talked about it a little bit in the other video, for a caption, I really want things to be a little bit less obtrusive, but for other fields you might want more. So if I want to change the placement of this, I can just do that. If I want to change the length of it, I can do that. Now I can fit it all in. Now notice this is where you want to start to pay attention. I just went to the move, and you can see that, well, I like the way that looks. This is dangerous because I'm getting into the text unsafe area. So I can't do that. If I don't want it to overlap the image, I just need to make some choices. And again, these are all things that you just want to play with. I could do it that way, so that I just change the formatting. And notice that this gives you, I love this because this tells you this is with the second one lined up. This is with the bottom lined up. This is really important because if you want to keep from jumping from page to page, all those guidelines are going to be very important. Okay, I'm going to leave that be for now, except I want to show you the color. And I'm not going to get into the more complicated areas. I'll show you those later, but I do want to show you the color. And again, you notice it picked up on that last color. So I can actually make sure that I have that selected. I can actually, there we go, do the same kind of idea. Definitely don't want that, although sometimes a really white one is nice. But I can pick up the text from there, or I can actually make my own text. Now, definitely I wouldn't do anything like that, but I might do something like this sort of brownish black, this reddish black. That is, yeah, that's rather nice. And again, if you wanted to do something like what we did in the Lightroom, you can change the opacity of that layer. Notice we have to be on the layer in order to do that. Okay, so there's that. So that is the basics of the text tool. We've added this Elegant Turn Crissy Field San Francisco text in here. I want to add one other thing just to show you what things might look like if you were putting text onto a cover. So let's go ahead and we'll open another one of these more recent ones. Let's see if we can find one that I think it's this one. Yeah, this will work. So let's pretend like this is going to be the cover of our image. And I want to, for right now, let's see, let's go ahead. If we're going to have it as the cover, we're not going to have to worry about this. I'm just going to take it off. And I will go ahead and make this bleed out to the edges. So I'm going to bring the margins in, and I will do a transform, and we'll do the opposite of what we did before. So we're going to give it a little bleed. Now, we don't have the bleed margins on. We could actually put those on, but on a cover, it's a little bit different. But we'll go ahead and put just the bleed margins on to be sure we like that. I think that'll be fine. Okay, and I picked this image in part because it actually has a lot of latitude. The edges, I could take a chance on the edges getting a little bit cut off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make that invisible so that I can envision my type. So this is the very same thing, but remember you're going to want to put the type onto the top of it. I'm just going to create a type tool there. And for this, we'll go ahead and take this out and just type in, I'll call this heading home. That was, there we go. And it comes in very, very small. And we'll go ahead and make it, because I have my other settings on, we want to go ahead and make the color pickings. We'll just go to black, just to start off with something a little bit more neutral. And it looks as if, nope, I've got my opacity up, so that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and make it pretty darn large. There we go. We definitely want to, and then this is what I want to show you, one of the things, is we go all the way to 72, and what if that is not big enough? I actually think it is, but let's pretend it isn't. If you get to there, you can just go ahead and type it in. And notice how it's cutting it off? That is not a big deal. If we decided we really did want to stick with that, we just have to increase this. So actually, let's go ahead and go with this. We'll just pretend like this should be fun. So a couple things I want to do if I have a title. This is sitting off to the left, and so with a title, you often are going to want to put it in the middle. The placement of the title is going to be extremely important, and one of the reasons I picked this image is I knew I could put it right here. There we go. And I don't mind that color, but I want to definitely play around with it. That's just that plain black. I think it's a little bit gray. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same trick that we did before. And I want to actually try, oh, that's an interesting thing. I must have picked something very strange. There we go. I think that is not quite what I want. That's a little better, but maybe I want to go cool. Yes, I want to go with the cool one. And I'm going to go ahead for this one. I think I'm staying with full opacity. I'm not going to go any lower than that. Then I want to have my name on it. And so I'm going to go, I could actually do it as part of this, but to have more flexibility, I want to go ahead and move away from this one. So you notice here is the text layer, and I want to actually add a new text layer. And to be sure that I get a new one, I just move off of there and then back on. And then I can put my new text layer down here, and it will pick up on, oh my goodness, it will pick up on, it should. Why is this so very, oh, it's not showing because it's way too big. So I'm going to make it big. There we go. So that's the other thing that happens is my text is so big that it won't show up. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I thought it was going to completely glitch on me. So while I have that in here, I'm just going to go ahead and pull it back to, oh, that's not bad. I think I'll go to the next one. Let's see if we like that. No, I think I liked it a little bit smaller, but we'll go ahead and stick with that so we can see what we're doing. And notice it picks up on exactly the same type color that we had before, which may or may not be good since I'm putting it over the cover. And this is another trick. I want to be sure if I want to come back to that type, I want to be sure I'm on the right layer. And I want to actually make sure that this is, there we go, centered on it. And right now you can see, not that I'm vain about it, but you can see that this color is really kind of disappearing. So I want the color on this one to be a little different. And I'm going to go ahead and use my picker again. It's just, I just love that. And I'm going to pick a lighter color. And I think I need to go even lighter. That would work. I think I might go with that. I also might, when we come back later in the semester, I might also show you some tools for modifying that text. But for now, I think I'm going to stick with that. Okay, so those are some tips for working with text and type. Let me just go ahead and show you that final version. So I hope that gives you some more tools to experiment with.